Hey guys, it's Ron, Nick, and Jake. And we're here to share with you the 10 things you need to think about if you're moving to Locust Point. Now, I've lived in the city since 95.
I've been here since 2010.
I've been here since 2016.
And, I always knew Locust Point as a really cool neighborhood that was a little bit on the outskirts. It's right, it's on a peninsula. It's surrounded by water. It's a really cool neighborhood. The number one thing I think about Locust Point is the people.
Yeah, that's just mirror what you said. The people are great here. It's a diverse group of people. You've got people who've been here for a long time. People who've just moved here, young professionals, families who've been established for a while. It's great people.
Yeah, I can't agree more with what he said. It's just a great neighborhood where your neighbors, you hang out with your neighbors, and anything you need they can drop to help you out. It's a great little place to live and to raise a family.
Mm-hmm. With the housing, you're really close, with row houses, you're side by side with people, and there's a lot of new construction townhomes across the neighborhood, and it's just very communal.
It really is. Generally, you can say that about Baltimore anyway. It's a very neighborhood-centric city, right?
Sure.
But this, like sitting here in Latrobe Park, there are strong neighborhood associations here to help maintain the parks. They come together. They hold events. They utilize the space, and you get that real neighborhood feel here.
Yeah, having a 2-year-old, we love parks, and I'm looking at this playground right now, and my son would love that park. There's so many good parks around Baltimore, and especially around the waterfront.
Yeah. And we're an easy walk from where we are down to Fort McHenry, right? I mean, I'd take the kids down there, show them something extremely historic and important to the nation, and it's right here. I mean, it's right in your backyard.
So that's the number one thing you should think about is there are really cool people in Locust Point. The number two thing we think you should consider when thinking about Locust Point is it's really good for kids.
It really is great for kids. I mean, we talked about the parks. We've talked about there's good schools here. There's a good choice for schools. The Montessori school is right across the street. Was it Francis Scott Key right behind us here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all the other neighborhoods around the city after that 2008 real estate collapse, a lot of people stayed here and raised families. I mean, there were people with families before that, but then you just saw this exponential growth in families and involvement in the community with programming for kids in the park and getting involved in the schools and things like that. So that's the number two thing is you're thinking about moving to Baltimore City. Locust Point is a great neighborhood to raise kids. So you're going to hear this in every harbor neighborhood that we talk about, and it's the walkability. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is like one of the main attractions of living in the city is you can walk to bars, restaurants, and whether you're in Federal Hill or Southwest Baltimore.
Absolutely. Yep.
The great part about this neighborhood is it's really close to shopping. The McHenry Row Shopping Center with grocery stores, Dunkin' Donuts, food, everything you would ever need is a short walk that way.
Southside Diner over there
Southside Diner, yeah, that's a great place to go. It's a top recommendation. So it's a really, really easy, walkable place that you don't even have to worry about stressing. Just, walk out your door and up the street and it's right there.
And there's a blurry border between Locust Point and Federal Hill. Mm-hmm. From a real estate standpoint, over the years, Locust Point was always the more affordable alternative to Federal Hill. And then as the community amenities got built up, like this beautiful park's been here, but it's just been really taken good care of, and McHenry Row and Under Armour came in, and you got Fort McHenry, like you said. It became like a primary neighborhood that people really you hear just as much as Federal Hill.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's still a little bit of a hidden gem compared to Federal Hill.
Right.
We're just getting a lot more attention these days. And again, about walkability, like you take these guys, like this little one here, it's real safe for them. Good dog park right over there. Yeah.
So, number three thing, if you're thinking about moving to Baltimore City, Locust Point, the walkability is fantastic. The number four thing why I like Locust Point, is the bars and restaurants, but it's different than you say Canton or Federal Hill or some of these other waterfront neighborhoods.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got neighborhood corner bar and restaurants. It's got there's some other neighborhoods similar to that, but it's very specific to Locust Point. You don't have a centralized location with all the bars and restaurants in one spot.
Yeah, the best way I can describe this neighborhood is Cheers bars. You know, they're
That's good.
corner
Yeah.
places
Yeah, I
where
like
you
that.
know the bartenders, you know all the regulars, and there's a great mix of places. You have Barracudas, you have Hull Street Blues, 1157, City Limits,
City
and
Limits,
then
yeah, right
you know
there.
for something that's a little bit different, there's Ice Queens, the ice and snowball shop right around the corner. I stop there every time I walk down to Fort McHenry. It's
Yep.
you know, got to get an egg custard with marshmallow. That's the Baltimore classic.
So you're not going to see like the crowded like Canton Square or
Sure.
Cross Street Market area, which you know is fun when you're into that.
Right.
But Locust Point is a little more down tempo. Right?
Down tempo, and I guess family friendly in a lot of ways.
Yep,
Yeah.
agreed.
And doggy friendly too.
Oh yeah.
So the number 5 thing we think you should think about with Locust Point is the lack of a vibrant nightlife. And what I mean is it just doesn't have it like it does in Federal Hill or Canton. It's, I mean, now certainly there are bars that stay open late, but it's just a different vibe. What you say?
Yeah, I think this neighborhood can best be described as like a suburban town within a city. You know, it's its own little isolated pocket of just a slower pace of life where you're running around with your kids and, you know, you're living life and you don't have to deal with all of the noise, all of the crowds, but you still get that atmosphere of wanting to live in a city and that walkability like we've discussed about earlier. It's just a really awesome place to live.
Absolutely. You know, the vibrant nightlife is a lot of times a selling point for different neighborhoods, and when we talk real estate, but it's not for everybody. And if you want that but don't want to live right on top of it, Locust Point's a great spot for that because you're an easy walk down to Fed Hill if you want that.
Yeah, 15-minute walk,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, super easy.
10-minute
But
walk.
otherwise, if you just want to chill and you want to have a quiet evening at home, this is a great spot to do that.
Yeah.
And look, in Locust Point, you can find a place that will be open until 2 a.m. that's going to be, you know, on this block or that block that people love and have built a lot of memories there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the number 6 thing we think you should consider when thinking about Locust Point is the way that this neighborhood is surrounded by water. There is one way in and one way out, and that gives the residents a feeling like you said earlier, it's kind of, you know, separate a little bit from the city. You're on the edge of the city. I know we were thinking about moving here a few years ago, and it felt like we were thinking about leaving the city. So you
Right.
get the best of both worlds, right?
Sure. Yeah, before I started in real estate, when I first moved down here, I looked at Locust Point very hard. I wound up choosing another neighborhood, which I love, but part of the attractiveness of it is exactly what you're talking about. There aren't any real busy roads that run through here, but it's real easy to get to 95 if you're going to commute. I used to commute to DC, and so that was attractive to me.
So for number 7, it would normally be our secret spot, and this spot might not be secret.
Yeah, it may not be entirely secret, but it's a solid place. It's a must-go.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, and a lot of people in the neighborhood know it. But you know, when you come down here, you got to make it yours just as much as they have made it theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, so check it out. Hope you enjoy. So the number 8 thing we want you to know about Locust Point is there are great parks. I mean, including this one we're in, Latrobe Park. This is awesome, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful here. I mean, just the tree canopy keeps it nice and cool. There's plenty of sun if you want to lay in the sun. Great dog park, and we mentioned the playground. It's beautiful.
You got the soccer field over here. with
Basketball courts, tennis courts, volleyball, and a full turf field where you play lacrosse. I play a Monday night soccer league there, and it's, you know, everything you ever wanted in a park, and it's right outside your front door.
Yeah.
And of course, we got Fort McHenry, super historical. I mean, obviously, we know the War of 1812. They
Right.
fought off the British trying to take over Baltimore, and that's where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. And I go there like once a year.
Yeah, I go out there. They do reenactments there, which is a lot of fun to go to. But yeah, such an important historic landmark. And
I go there every Sunday. I walk my dog around the paths that go around the fort, and it's, you know, free every day to go in. You don't have to pay anything, and you know, you just walk around. You get great views of the harbor. You can see out into the Chesapeake Bay, and it's absolutely picturesque.
Yeah, beautiful view.
So the number 8 thing that you should consider is there's great parks, and if you come down here, you might even see Jake here reenacting the War of 1812.
Shooting
The
cannons.
whole thing.
The number 9 thing we think you should know about Locust Point is what, Jake?
The proximity to highways. We're close to highways. 95 is literally right there. It's super easy to get to.
2 minutes there, and it's easy to go north or south.
Yeah, like I said, I used to commute. Being close to the interstate was important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, the number 10 thing you should consider when you're moving to Locust Point is there is a range of housing out there. There are old historical homes that have been renovated. There's
several luxury condo buildings.
And brand new home developments, with garages and 3-4 bedrooms that can fit anybody's needs.
Yeah, whether you're looking for a 1-bedroom condo or a 4-bedroom house with a 2-car garage and parking pad and everything in between. So if you're coming to Baltimore City, we think you should highly consider Locust Point for all the reasons we've just shared with you. And if you want a tour of the neighborhood, reach out to us. Our contact information is in this post. We look forward to seeing you. Take care.